tell anybody about this. This is how the rich get richer. You want to play along? I'll show you the rules, help you understand the power of this opportunity to transfer wealth from generations to our children, tax-free forevermore. Stick around. Okay. HR 2617, passed in the tail end of December 2022, included a provision in it called Secure 2.0. This has been discussed for a lot of 2022. Seems like it came out in May of 2022, but it's actually in the law now. The specific section we're going to be talking about today is section 126. That deals with qualified tuition programs. Those are those 529 plans that you set up for your children or grandchildren with the intention of that money being used to pay for their qualified education expenses. That qualified tuition program in the past has had some problems. If the child found another way to pay for school, chose to go to a trade school, the distributions from that 529 plan that were then subjected to income tax on the earnings plus a 10% penalty. Bad deal. Bad deal and a punishment for those who tried to save for their children's education. Congress has recognized the fact that we don't need to penalize these folks for trying to plan in advance. So what they've done in this particular provision is they've allowed the 529 plan to fund that beneficiary's Roth IRA. Let's make sure we understand. We can now move money from the 529 plan to the Roth IRA for that beneficiary and not have to take a distribution out of that 529 plan and subject the earnings to tax and penalty. We are now taking that tax-free earnings and moving it to a never tax bucket money of accounts, the Roth IRA. That's huge, folks. Absolutely huge. There's some limitations and some caveats to this. The maximum amount we'll be able to roll over to the beneficiary's account is $35,000, but we can only do it up to the limitations for each year. And we can't start this until 2024, years after December 31st, 2023. We've got some time to build the discussions and get the plan of action in place. But the reality is this: when your children graduate or move on in life, it's unlikely that they're going to be earning the kind of income that's going to prevent them from making Roth IRA contributions. Perhaps they get involved with an employer that has a pre-tax plan and they involve themselves in that employer's pre-tax plan and make pre-tax contributions through their W-2 wages. They can do this in addition to that participation in an employer's plan. This is all specific to the individual retirement account limitations that apply to the individuals in the specific year of the distribution. Right now, the IRA limit is $6,000. That's the most that you can put into a combined or individual retirement account, whether it's a traditional IRA or Roth IRA. If you need more information on the differences of those, we'll put a link here in the description. We've got a child who's got a qualified tuition program that's been in place for 10 years. That child has got a balance in that qualified tuition program of some $20,000. Of that $20,000, $10,000 is earnings. So our $10,000 original contribution plus the $10,000 of earnings makes up the balance today of $20,000. The child's not going to go to college. They've decided they're done. They're done with school. They're going to find another trade, another career where they're not going to have to go or be able to incur qualified tuition expenses. Now, what do we do with that 529 plan? This legislation changes the opportunities that exist for the money that's already in that plan and also new contributions that could be put in that plan. The transfer of wealth from other generations to the younger generation, tax-free forevermore. How do we do it? So here's the legislation, the way it's written. We can make a distribution from a qualified tuition program for a designated beneficiary to an individual retirement account through a rollover provision. We have to do it through a trustee-to-trustee transfer, as long as that account's been open 15 years and we haven't made any contributions in that account in the last 5. 5 years goes by pretty quickly. The most we can do over that child's lifetime or that beneficiary's lifetime is $35,000. If you want to read the law and understand that, these are my annotations related to that. Take a moment to understand all those limitations. There's going to be more information that comes out on this. This is fairly new. This is a technical piece. I've always tried to stay on the front side of this legislation and look for opportunities to maximize wealth. This is one of those opportunities. I like the potential here. Let me show you the potential. Let's pretend we don't have a 529 plan set up for anybody. We decide today we want to go ahead and make that contribution of $15,000 to the 529 plan. We also assume that 529 plan is going to have a compounded annual return of 5%. That account has to be open for 15 years before the first distribution / rollover contribution to the Roth IRA can occur. If we earn 5% on that 529 plan over the course of that period of time, on an average annual basis, we're going to have sufficient funds to make distributions from that account in years 2038, 39, 40, 41, 42, where we can distribute that money out to the beneficiary's Roth IRA through a trustee-to-trustee rollover, assuming they meet the qualifications for the IRA contributions that were outlined in Section 408A(c)(2). That particular provision basically requires those contributions to be limited to the maximum allowable amount. 2023, it's $6,000. That will be indexed for inflation, and it can't be more than the aggregate of the contributions subjected to that limit. So if the individual is making Roth or IRA contributions during the year, then that rollover is going to be reduced by the amount of those contributions. It's also going to be subjected to the adjusted gross income limitations because of Section AC3. That dollar limit is going to be subjected to adjusted gross income of the beneficiary. So, limitations in planning and opportunities to basically move money, but considerations for when will that child or beneficiary's adjusted gross income fall below the thresholds? When can we make those rollover contributions from the 529 plan to the Roth IRA? So things to think about and plan for. If that child already has or beneficiary already has a 529 plan, there's nothing to say that you can't contribute more money to that 529 plan in anticipation of moving money out of that 529 plan to the Roth IRA at least 5 years down the road. So now our timeline for this powerful transfer of wealth tool is 5 years, not 15. I know it's technical, but I need you to understand the concept of the power of compounding that interest, the power of moving that money with earnings tax-free forevermore to a tax-free account for the beneficiary. Is there anything to preclude you from setting up a 529 plan now for your master's education, for your PhD education? No. There is not an age limit for setting up a 529 plan. The beneficiary can be 35 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. There is not an age limitation on the 529 plan. There is not a contribution limit for the 529 plan. Grandparents can actually use a specific provision in the estate code that allows them to put $85,000 into that 529 plan today and elect to treat it as a gift over the next 5 years. Hello? We can set up a 529 plan to help fund our child's education now and let that $85,000 begin to grow tax-free so that when the child does go to school, we can use that money to fund the education using qualified tuition expenses. And then any excess can be moved over to the child's Roth IRA through a series of years, up to $35,000. That's incredible. Don't lose the opportunity to talk through this technique with your advisors, with your financial planner, with your CPA. Take advantage of it and make the most of your money. This is how the rich get richer. Use the law to your benefit. I hope this helped you. Look out for more information, read up on it, and make sure you follow the technical rules related to it. Thanks for watching.